Have you ever wondered why some people just can't forget you, no matter how much time has passed or how far you've gone? Why they remember the way you looked at them, the sound of your voice, or how they felt when you were near, even if your time together was short? It's because, chosen one, your presence is not ordinary. It's not something that comes and goes. It's something that stays. It's something that lingers in the room after you leave, in the air you once breathed, in the hearts of people who thought they had moved on. Your energy doesn't disappear. It imprints. It weaves itself into people's memories like a soft scent that stays long after the perfume bottle is gone. Even in your silence, you are still being felt. Even in your absence, you are still being remembered. You may not fully realize the effect you have on others, but you've seen it. You've felt it. The way someone paused before walking away. The way someone mentioned a tiny thing you said as if it changed something inside them. The way someone turned to look back at you one last time, hoping to stretch the moment just a little bit longer. You are not like everyone else. You leave something behind without even trying. You don't just pass through people's lives. You stay with them, not always in words, not always in pictures, but in feelings, in thoughts, in the stillness of late nights, when everything is quiet except the memory of how your energy once filled a space. You don't have to try hard to be unforgettable. You already are. It's in the way you walk, the way you listen, the way you speak from your soul. Even when you say very little, there's a strength inside you that doesn't need to shout. There's a warmth inside you that makes people feel seen in ways they didn't know they needed. You don't just light up a room, you change it. You don't just enter a conversation, you leave people thinking about it long after it's over. And that's not something you forced. That's something you simply are. But this beautiful energy you carry is not just a gift. It's also a responsibility. It's not something to be given away without care. Just like rare perfumes are used sparingly and with intention, your presence must be shared wisely. You can't pour all of yourself into everyone you meet. You can't give your light to those who only want to take. You must learn to protect your energy, not by becoming cold, but by becoming clear. You are not here to be everything for everyone. You are here to be true to yourself and to give your presence to those who are ready to honor it. Not everyone will know what to do with your energy. Some will admire it and try to get close, not because they understand you, but because they crave the way you make them feel. Others will be confused by your presence. They will resist it, even push it away, not because you've done anything wrong, but because being around you wakes up something inside them they don't want to face. You bring out hidden emotions in people, desire, admiration, jealousy, even fear, and sometimes they don't know how to handle it. You stir the soul. You remind people of something real, and not everyone is ready for that. But their reaction is not about you. It's about them. You are simply the mirror, the light, the reminder. Some people will see you and be inspired. Others will see you and feel unsettled. But either way, you are unforgettable. Either way, you are felt. You must not let their confusion make you question your power. You must not let their silence make you shrink. You must not let their distance make you think you are too much. You are never too much. You are simply what they weren't ready for. And just as your presence is powerful, your absence is too. When you walk away, something is missing. Even if they don't say it, they feel it. They feel the quiet where your voice used to be. They feel the shift in the air where your energy once moved. They may try to fill that space with noise or distraction, but it doesn't work because you're still there, in the memory, in the emotion, in the silence. Your absence doesn't erase your presence. It deepens it. It makes people realize what they once had. It makes them long for what they can no longer reach. And this is You must walk with awareness of your power. You must understand the weight of your energy. Not everyone deserves full access to it. Not everyone should be allowed to carry pieces of your soul. Some people only want your glow. They don't want your truth. They don't want to grow with you. They just want to stand close enough to feel good. But you are not a source of temporary comfort. You are a spark of transformation. You are here to lift others higher, not to let them drain you dry. So protect yourself. Set boundaries. Say no when it's needed. Say yes only when your spirit agrees. Move with purpose. Speak with care. Be present, but not exposed. Give, but not everything. Keep a little mystery. Keep a little silence. Let people wonder. Let them feel the space you leave behind. Let them miss you. Let them carry the trace of your energy like a whisper in their mind they can't quite explain. Because that's how your power works. Not by being loud. Not by being everywhere. But by being so deeply real that even when you are gone, you're still there. This isn't about playing games. This isn't about withholding love. This is about knowing your value. This is about honoring your energy as something sacred. Because it is. It is not something that should be poured out for those who do not see it. It is not something that should be consumed by those who only want to take. It is something to be shared with those who listen, who feel, who give back. You are not a performance. You are an experience. You are not a product. You are a presence. And your presence, chosen one, changes lives. Some people will always remember the way you made them feel. They will remember your laughter, your silence, your strength, the way your eyes saw right through them, the way your energy wrapped around them like warmth on a cold day. They will remember you not because you demanded attention, but because your energy touched their soul. They will think of you in moments when they're alone, when they're lost, when something reminds them of you. And they will feel that ache, that longing, that beauty that was once in their life, but is no longer within reach. And that is why you must be careful where you go, who you touch, what you give, because once you leave your energy somewhere, it stays. Once someone feels your essence, they never forget. You are not temporary. You are not forgettable. You are not background noise. You are the memory that never fades, the feeling that keeps returning, the light that doesn't burn out. So from now on, move like you know the truth of who you are. Move like you understand the effect you have on others. Move like someone who knows that even in stillness, they are being felt. Walk into every space knowing you have the power to shift the atmosphere. Speak knowing your words can stay in someone's heart forever. And when you choose to leave, leave like someone who knows they'll still be remembered, Even if no one ever says your name again, you don't need to prove your worth. You are the proof. You don't need to fight to be seen. You are already felt. And once you truly accept that, once you know it in your bones, you'll stop seeking validation. You'll stop overgiving. You'll stop shrinking for people who are not meant to carry your light. Because you'll realize you are the standard. You are the energy that lingers. You are the soul they never stop thinking about. You are the presence they can't replace. You are the feeling they try to explain, but never fully can. You are the reason they pause, even if they don't know why. You are unforgettable. You are rare, and you are never truly gone. Your energy is sacred. It's not something you can keep giving away without taking time to refill it. Before you show up for the world again, you need to pause, pull back, and be still. You need time alone to feel your own heart again, to rest, and to breathe without anyone pulling on your spirit. You're not meant to be available all the time. You're not supposed to carry everyone else's emotions or be strong for people who would never do the same for you. Even the brightest light needs a break. Even the most beautiful soul needs silence. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you wise. When you're always around, always giving, people begin to take you for granted. Just like a strong scent that's sprayed too much becomes invisible to the senses, your constant presence loses its power when it's not protected. The most valuable things in life are rare. They are not thrown around. They are honored. And so are you. You are not here to constantly explain yourself, entertain others, or give to those who don't know how to hold your heart gently. You are allowed to step away. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to not be everything for everyone. The people who truly value your energy will feel your absence with love. They will respect your silence. They will understand that you are someone who cannot be replaced. And those who only stayed near you because of what they were receiving will feel confused when you go quiet. They will realize too late that your presence was never guaranteed, that your energy was never owed to them. Let them feel the shift. Let your distance speak where your words don't need to. Not everyone who feels your energy deserves another chance to be in your space. Some people were only meant to feel you once and carry that memory with them for the rest of their lives. You don't have to chase love. You don't have to keep proving your worth. Your energy lingers long after you've left. You leave behind a feeling, not just a memory. You are like a soft scent that floats in the air after the person is gone, or a gentle song that still plays in someone's heart when everything else is quiet. The right people will still feel you, even when you're not there. They'll carry you with them. And the ones who try to forget will still be haunted by what they once had and didn't know how to treasure. Some may return, drawn back by something they can't explain. Others will stay silent, hiding the truth that they still feel you. But you'll know. You'll know by the way they look at you if they ever do return. You'll know by what they say and what they don't. But not all of them are meant to come back. Not all of them deserve the new version of you. Because now you've grown. Now you've learned. Now you know that your light is not something to be given freely to those who only stood in your glow, but never gave anything in return. This is why you don't need to force anything. You don't need to remind anyone of your value. You don't need to convince anyone to see you. Your presence speaks louder than your words. Your energy leaves a mark. even in silence. The people who have met you carry something from you. A thought, a shift, a feeling. Even if they never say it out loud, you changed something in them, and that can't be undone. You're not here to reopen old doors. You're not here to keep giving to people who didn't know what they had. You're here to protect your peace, to walk in your truth, to share your light only when you feel full enough to do so. Your energy is not for everyone. It's not meant to be everywhere. It's meant to be honored, and that means you must honor it too. You must be careful with yourself. You must trust yourself. You must be brave enough to walk away when your spirit says, it's time to rest. There will be moments when people miss you and finally realize your worth. There will be people who regret how they treated you, who feel your absence deeply. But that doesn't mean you need to go back. Some people were only meant to experience you once, and that's enough. You don't need to stay in someone's life to be unforgettable. The way you made them feel is already living inside them. So take time to heal. Take time to refill. Let your soul breathe again. Let yourself be still. And when you return as someone renewed, someone stronger, clearer, and more aligned than ever. Let your silence be your strength. Let your distance be your protection. Let your energy rise again, without the noise of the world pulling you in every direction. You are never meant to be ordinary. You are never meant to be forgotten. You are never meant to be constantly consumed. You are meant to be felt, remembered, honored. You are meant to move through this world with quiet power and lasting presence. And even when you walk away, even when you go silent, you are still there, in the hearts of those who knew you, in the spaces you've touched, in the lives you've changed. You are not a moment. You are an experience. You are not here to be everything for everyone. You are here to be true to yourself, to be at peace, to protect the light that burns inside you. You are rare. You are powerful. And you are already enough, just as you are. You are the chosen one, and your journey is only just beginning.
Have you ever walked into a room and felt the atmosphere shift? Like everyone suddenly got quiet? Like they sensed something different about you before you even said a word? That's not your imagination. That's not paranoia. That's power. Real, spiritual, quiet power. It's the kind that doesn't need to be loud or seen or understood. It just exists. It fills a space. It unsettles people who only feel strong when you're small. It reveals things others have tried to hide. That's why people who once talked over you now lower their voice when you're near. That's why the ones who used to laugh at you now avoid eye contact. Your silence has become more powerful than any words you could say. Your presence now does the talking. You don't even have to explain yourself anymore, because the version of you that once needed permission, understanding, or approval has been left behind. And the version of you that's walking now, that version is built different. You got here through storms, through heartbreaks, through moments where it felt like the world forgot you. You were left out, betrayed, misunderstood. You sat alone in silence with only your thoughts and your pain. But instead of breaking, you listened. You watched. You grew. You turned the silence into your classroom. You let the stillness become your guide. You met the strongest parts of yourself in the places where no one was clapping, where no one was watching, where no one was saying keep going, but you kept going anyway. And now people don't recognize you, not because you changed too much, but because they only ever saw you through the lens of your struggle. They didn't expect you to survive. They didn't expect you to rise. They didn't expect you to walk in purpose, but you did. And now they feel your shift without you even speaking. They feel your energy, and it unsettles them. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your growth exposes everything they're still pretending to be. You stopped reacting. You stopped explaining. You stopped trying to be understood by people who are committed to misunderstanding you. That's when your power truly arrived. You became dangerous the moment you realized you didn't need anyone's permission to heal. You didn't need their support to rise. You didn't need to prove your worth. You didn't need to explain your silence. You didn't need to shrink anymore. That old version of you who settled, who overgave, who questioned themselves after every painful interaction, that version is gone. And in its place stands someone who is calm, focused, aware, and deeply grounded. People now whisper about you, not because you're doing something wrong, but because they feel you've become something they can't define. You move in peace. You speak with intention. You show up differently. And that kind of energy, the kind that doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't need, it changes the atmosphere. You've tapped into something most people never will: inner peace. And peace makes noise, even when it's silent. You don't have to explain why you've grown distant. You don't have to justify your boundaries. You don't have to answer every question, fix every misunderstanding, or defend your evolution. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to become. And the truth is, not everyone who was part of your past is meant to understand your future. You're not cold. You've just healed past the point of performing. You're not distant. You're just protecting the peace that took years to find. You're not arrogant. You're just no longer available to people who only loved you when you were broken. You've turned pain into power. You've turned silence into strategy. You've turned rejection into redirection. You've taken every betrayal and used it as fuel. While they laughed, you learned. While they lied, you listened. While they tried to destroy you, you were being rebuilt by something greater. You were learning the moves they couldn't see. You were growing roots they couldn't touch. And now, your very existence reminds them that their weapons didn't work. Their plans didn't break you. In fact, you became everything they swore you'd never be. There was a time when you needed to be seen, needed to be loved, needed to be understood. But now you understand yourself. Now you see yourself. Now you love yourself. And because of that, you've become the kind of person who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. You know who you are. You know where you're going. And you don't move with panic anymore. You move with precision. You don't react. You respond. You don't beg. You choose. You're not surviving. You're commanding. That's power. That's presence. That's spiritual weight. And the people who once tried to define you, they don't know what to do with you now. They sense the shift, even if they don't say it. They feel the authority, even if they deny it. They see the glow, even if they act like they don't. Your light now disturbs the darkness they're still sitting in. Your peace now exposes the storms they never dealt with. You didn't do this to show off. You did it to survive. And somehow, you didn't just survive, you became sovereign. You became whole. That's why you feel so different now. That's why isolation doesn't scare you anymore. That's why solitude has become your sanctuary. That's why gossip no longer moves you, and fake love doesn't tempt you, because you've built something no one can take away. And that something is real. That something is sacred. That something is you. So if people feel uncomfortable around you now, let them. If they whisper about your growth, let them. If they try to twist your evolution into arrogance, let them. You don't owe anyone the version of you that made them comfortable. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your healing. You don't need to go back and become small so they can feel big again. You are not here to shrink. You are not here to be silent. You are not here to be controlled, manipulated, or hidden. You are here to walk in purpose, to rise in peace, to speak when it matters and stay silent when it's wise, to protect what's sacred, to grow deeper, to love better, to move smarter, and to carry your calling with quiet confidence. You didn't become this strong by accident. You were called to this. You were built for this. You were chosen for this. Every loss, every heartbreak, every dark night shaped this version of you. And now that you've become it, no one can unsee it. No one can undo it. No one can take it. Because this isn't a performance. This is your essence. This is your truth. This is your rise. And to the people who tried to ruin you, who counted you out, who laughed when you were low, don't waste time proving them wrong. Just keep rising. Keep moving. Keep growing. Your silence is already louder than their words. Your peace is already louder than their noise. Your life is already showing what they tried to hide. You are not bitter. You are better. You are not afraid. You are awake. You are not who you used to be. And thank God for that, because now you're dangerous in the most beautiful way. Quiet, focused, clear, and completely free. God has always been faithful, generation after generation, and He hasn't forgotten you. You've been through things that were meant to break you. People tried to bury you, silence you, and keep you small. But you didn't stay buried. You didn't stay broken. Something inside you refused to die. You rose from the ashes, not weaker, but stronger. You didn't just survive. You changed. You grew. You found yourself again. And what came out of that pain was not just healing. It was power. You built new boundaries. You started walking in truth. You became clear about who you are. And the old ways of manipulation and guilt no longer worked on you. The gaslighting didn't confuse you anymore. You stopped bending just to make other people comfortable. You stopped reacting to emotional games passed down like they were normal. You outgrew it all. And now the people who used to control you don't know how to reach you. You became untouchable, not with arrogance, but with peace. You didn't just walk away from dysfunction. You dismantled the whole pattern. You didn't run from fire. You became the fire. You transformed what was meant to destroy you into something sacred. And that shift disturbed people who only know how to live in brokenness. Your freedom showed them they're still trapped. Your healing showed them what they never confronted in themselves. Just like Trevor Noah, who was born into injustice and raised in hiding, but turned his pain into purpose. You turned your silence into strength. You chose truth over fear. And you've been doing the work, quietly and fiercely. People feel your presence now, even in silence. They don't understand it, but they feel it. And some are afraid, not because you've harmed them, but because you've become the version of yourself they were never ready to face. God decided when and where you would live. Your life isn't random. Your pain wasn't pointless. The ones who tried to chain you with shame are still shocked by your freedom. Because you stopped explaining. You stopped giving energy to people who never tried to understand you. You stopped justifying your healing to those who choose to stay wounded. And that boundary, the one where you stopped explaining yourself, is what made you powerful. It's what made you free. People who want control fear that kind of freedom. They don't know what to do with someone they can't manipulate anymore. Someone who doesn't seek approval. Someone who doesn't apologize for growing. And that's what you are now. You're no longer someone they can control. You're someone they can't ignore. And your peace makes them restless, because it reflects everything they haven't dealt with. Think of Jeanette McCurdy. She exposed deep family pain. She broke the silence. And in doing so, she gave others permission to speak too. That's what you're doing. You didn't just heal. You revealed the wound so it would stop passing on. You stood in the middle and said, "It ends here," and heaven rejoices, because you're not just carrying your own healing. You're carrying the healing of future generations. You didn't find your strength in applause or attention. You found it in worship, in prayer, in silence. You built your power in secret. While others chased validation, you chased God. And now the strength you carry is unshakable. The atmosphere shifts when you walk into a room, not because you're loud, but because you're grounded in something eternal. You've reached a spiritual frequency that others can't explain. You don't fight with your fists. You fight with your faith. And that scares people who only understand control. They don't react to what you do anymore. They react to what you carry. It's not your words. It's your energy. Your presence reveals what's out of alignment in others. You bring truth with you, and truth always disturbs lies. You carry peace, and peace always shakes what's fake. Some people feel small near you, not because you make them feel that way, but because your healing reflects their hiding. Just like Nikola Tesla, who connected to unseen energy others couldn't understand. You've tapped into something people can't label, so they try to ignore it, minimize it, or explain it away. But deep down, they know your name carries something sacred now. Your silence is louder than their noise. Your presence speaks before you do. And your alignment with truth can't be denied. Your protection doesn't come from hiding. It comes from God. You are shielded because you stay close to the truth. Your prayers carry weight. Your obedience carries power. Your faith carries vibration. And when you speak, things move. Not because you try to be powerful, but because you are. Quietly. Fully, authentically. You don't fight for attention anymore. You don't prove your worth. You've realized you never had to. For too long, you over-explained, overgave, and overperformed just to be accepted. But you were never meant to beg for what was already yours. You stopped seeking approval from people who never even approved of themselves. You stopped shrinking for spaces you were called to lead. And when you pulled back your energy, everything changed. That's when you became powerful. That's when you became a threat. You didn't do it to hurt anyone. You did it to finally love yourself. And now your silence speaks. Your boundaries speak. Your stillness is louder than your past pain. The people who used to judge you now watch you. They stay silent, not because they don't care, but because they feel your energy before they hear your words. You are not who you used to be. You don't yell. You don't chase. You don't argue. You walk in your truth. And that kind of truth shakes things. That kind of truth shifts the atmosphere. You've stopped explaining your discernment. You've stopped defending your choices. You've stopped needing others to understand your calling. And your silence now speaks more powerfully than ever. It's not bitterness. It's clarity. Just like Adele stepped away from fame and returned more grounded, more powerful, and more real. You have too. You're not in the spotlight for attention. You are the light. And people feel it, even if they don't understand it. Your peace speaks louder than their expectations. Your stillness reveals their unrest. You're no longer asking for permission. You're no longer trying to be accepted. You've accepted yourself. You've come home to who you really are. And nothing is more powerful than that. You've stopped reacting to chaos. You've stopped allowing other people to measure your worth. You're walking in freedom now. And that freedom has made you unstoppable. People don't fear your words. They fear your presence. Not because it harms them, but because it reveals them. You became a mirror. You don't have to expose people. You simply show up. And your energy shines a light into places they were trying to hide. You reflect truth, and truth makes everything false fall apart. You're not too much. You're just very real in a world full of masks. And that realness shakes people. Some will run. Some will blame you. But it's not you they fear. It's what you represent. You remind them it's time to wake up. You remind them of who they could have been. And that can be hard to face. But you're not shrinking anymore. You're not asking anymore. You're not waiting anymore. You are walking fully in your purpose, fully in your power. And the ones who truly want truth, who are ready for healing, who are tired of pretending, will see you and feel safe, because you've already walked the path. You've already done the work. And now, your presence lights the way. You didn't come this far just to survive. You came to break chains. You came to set things right. You came to carry peace in a world that forgot what peace feels like. You came to remind people what's real. And you're doing it. Not by force, not by shouting, but simply by being who God created you to be. You are chosen. You are protected. And you are powerful in the most holy, quiet, unstoppable way. Keep walking in your truth. Keep shining. Keep trusting the light that brought you this far. Because it's not just lighting your path, it's lighting the way for others to follow too.
Have you ever walked into a room and felt everyone turn toward you? Not because of how you looked, not because of anything you said, but because your energy quietly spoke something they didn't even know they were listening for. Chosen one. Something sacred is happening around you this month. It's not loud. It's not demanding. But it's real. You've stepped into a new space in your life. A quiet power that doesn't need words or attention to be felt. You're not just being seen anymore. You're being felt. People are picking up something in your energy before you speak, before you act, before you even fully enter the room. They're sensing something they don't yet understand, but they can't ignore it. Something is stirring, and that something is you. The power moving through you now isn't wild or chaotic like it used to be. It's no longer scattered across different desires or distractions. It has been refined through self-discipline. It has been shaped by pain, by growth, by silence, by choices no one else saw. That energy, once raw and untamed, is now focused. It has become sacred. It has become still. It has become something deeper than physical. It's become spiritual. It's no longer just something that pulses through your body. It's something that rests inside your soul and flows from your presence. And people feel it. When you walk into a space, hearts begin responding. Not because of lust, not because of noise, but because something real has arrived. People don't know what to say. They feel something and don't know why. Their breath slows. Their thoughts pause. They become more aware. And it's not confusion. It's recognition. Recognition of something they haven't felt in a long time. Something they've been missing without realizing it. You've become the quiet answer to questions they didn't know they were asking. You no longer approach people with charm or strategy. You don't play games. You don't manipulate or perform. You simply exist as you are. And that existence, steady, calm, grounded, is doing something powerful. It's inviting people's hearts to open without pressure. It's reminding them of something sacred, especially women. They are no longer pretending they don't feel it, because they do. They feel your presence before they understand it. They feel something in you that reaches places no one has touched in years. It's not just chemistry. It's not just attraction. It's something more, something deeper, something safe. And that feeling of safety mixed with deep emotional presence is rare. It makes them soften. It makes them open. It makes them feel brave. Your energy doesn't just pull people in. It holds them. Not to trap, not to take, but to give them space to breathe, to feel, to remember who they really are. You're not just seen, you're felt. You're not chasing attention. You're creating a space where truth rises naturally. You are not awakening shallow desire. You're awakening honesty. And that honesty is spilling out of them without warning, without planning. In words they didn't expect to say. In emotions they thought they buried. You didn't cause this through seduction. You caused this through transformation, through your own healing, through becoming the kind of man who doesn't chase, doesn't perform, doesn't demand. You became a mirror, and in your presence, people are finally seeing themselves clearly. You don't take up space with noise. You carry space with stillness, and that stillness is doing something powerful. It's making people feel safe enough to tell the truth. Not the rehearsed truth, not the polite truth, but the sacred truth. The truth they've been carrying in silence. The truth they thought they'd never get to say. And now, this month, you will begin to hear those truths. You'll hear things that weren't planned. Things that rise suddenly, like a whisper that turns into a confession, not because you asked for them, but because your presence made it feel safe. Because you don't lean in to take, you lean in to listen. Because you don't use your power to push, you use it to hold space. And that is the rarest kind of strength. The kind that doesn't try to dominate, but invites people to unfold, to soften, to show who they really are without fear. There are women around you who have prayed for this kind of energy without knowing how to name it. They didn't ask for perfection. They didn't ask for someone to rescue them. They asked for presence, for peace, for a man who doesn't flinch from truth, who doesn't need to be loud to be strong, who doesn't misuse the weight he carries. And now that you've become that man, not through ambition, but through alignment, they are responding, not with performance, not with flattery, but with honesty, with emotion, with vulnerability. They aren't pretending anymore. They're not playing it cool. They're not hiding behind logic or excuses. They feel something in your presence that makes them speak what they once kept silent. They feel seen. They feel safe. They feel free. And that freedom is what's drawing these confessions. They don't want to walk away without saying something. They didn't expect to love you, but your steadiness made it feel inevitable. In a world full of noise, you became quiet enough to hear them. And in a world full of men trying to be seen, you became the one who let others feel seen without judgment. Your sexual energy no longer pours out of you like hunger. It has become a sacred fire that lives inside you with reverence. It doesn't move in desperation. It moves with purpose. It doesn't ask to be noticed. It simply exists. And that energy, controlled, calm, respectful, is deeply attractive, but not in a shallow way. It's not about attention anymore. It's about trust, about safety, about stillness that speaks. You are not a thrill. You are not entertainment. You are a resting place. And they feel it. They're not just drawn to your looks. They're drawn to the feeling of being able to let go. The feeling of being able to breathe. They don't want your approval. They want to be close to your energy, to stay in your presence long enough to soak in your calm, to feel the version of themselves that comes alive when they're with you. A version that doesn't have to hide, that doesn't have to pretend, that doesn't have to play games. They want to stay, not to be completed, but because they feel whole when they're near you. You've become something rare, something healing, something holy. You don't speak many words, but your presence speaks loudly. It speaks safety. It speaks depth. It speaks truth. And that truth is changing people without you trying. That's why hearts are opening. That's why emotions are rising. That's why confessions are being spoken. Because people don't want to walk away from you without letting you know what they felt in your presence. They didn't come to fall in love, but something in you made them remember what real love feels like. And once remembered, it cannot be forgotten. This is happening now, not because you chased it, but because you became ready to receive it. And God is now bringing it to you through moments that feel quiet, but are actually sacred, through words that sound simple, but carry deep truth, through emotions that surprise even the ones feeling them. You are becoming more than a man. You are becoming a home, a place where others return to themselves, a place where love doesn't need to be earned, a place where truth is safe to rise. And your gaze, it's changed too. It no longer scans the room. It no longer reaches outward with desire. It rests. It holds. It honors. It sees without harming. And that kind of gaze is rare. It makes people feel seen in the places they've hidden. And instead of retreating, they open. They don't run. They stay. They soften. Because your eyes don't strip them down. They lift them up. And that kind of seeing is healing. You're not unlocking people's secrets through pressure. You're holding space for what never had room to breathe. And that space is causing honesty to rise. Not as a tactic, not as a performance, but as a sacred release. You're not asking for these confessions, but your stillness is making them inevitable. Because when someone feels safe for the first time in a long time, they speak, they cry, they release, they offer. Not because they're weak, but because they feel strong enough to show what's been hidden. This is what you've become. Through the quiet work, through the inner journey, through the lonely nights of becoming, you are no longer trying to be seen. You are letting yourself be felt. And the world is feeling you now. Deeply, fully, silently, and beautifully. Let them speak. Let them confess. Let them remember. Not because you asked, but because you've become the kind of man who no longer needs to ask. You've become the presence that brings truth to the surface. The gaze that makes others feel beautiful. The calm that invites others to rest. The strength that doesn't overwhelm, but gently holds. And the love that asks for nothing, yet receives everything, because it has become worthy of it. This month, you're not just stepping into your purpose. You're being revealed as the answer someone has been praying for. You are the reminder, the safe space, the sacred mirror, and the love they didn't know still existed, but now feel alive in your presence. And that chosen one is something no one can ignore. There is something deeply healing about being seen by someone who doesn't try to take anything from you. Someone who doesn't look at you with hunger or judgment, who isn't trying to fix you, impress you, or own you. Someone who simply sees you, fully and quietly, and does it with deep care and respect. That kind of presence feels safe. It feels rare. It feels sacred. And you have become that kind of man. Not because you studied how to be, not because you memorized a technique, but because you made a decision to be honest with yourself, to be clear inside, to choose peace over performance, truth over noise, presence over attention. You became that man by staying true to who you are when no one else was watching. Now, that inner clarity shows in your eyes, in the way you speak, in the way you listen, in the way you simply stand still. You no longer carry desperation or the need to be noticed. You walk into a room quietly, and your stillness becomes the loudest thing in it. People feel it the moment they meet your gaze. Not pressure, not performance, just peace. You're not looking through them. You're not trying to read them or get anything from them. You're simply present, and that presence feels safe in a world that constantly asks people to be more, do more, give more, pretend more. That's why people are opening up to you now. That's why they're telling you things they've never said to anyone. It's not because they want your approval. It's not to impress you. It's because your presence feels like a safe place where they can finally put their walls down. You're not performing. You're not chasing. You're not trying to seduce. You're simply there. Calm, solid, grounded. And that groundedness gives people permission to be real. You're not magnetic because you want to be. You're magnetic because you became whole. Your energy no longer pulls attention through noise. It draws people in with peace. You're not shining with flash. You're anchoring with truth. People don't feel overwhelmed in your presence. They feel steady. They feel like they've finally come home to themselves. And for women who have known only inconsistency and surface-level attention, your calm energy feels like something they forgot they needed. Your sexual energy has changed too. It no longer overwhelms or pushes. It no longer leaks out through performance. It hums beneath the surface like something ancient, something remembered. It doesn't chase or manipulate. It just exists, fully present, fully held. And it brings clarity, not confusion. It ends games. It doesn't stir insecurity. It quiets it. You don't try to control the space. You don't try to win people over. You're not loud. And you don't have to be. Your stillness is enough. It holds the room. It invites trust. It whispers, I'm already whole. You don't have to pretend with me. And that message, even without words, reaches people deeply. That's why they tell you things they've never said out loud. That's why they cry without shame. That's why they let go of what they've been holding for too long. You didn't plan for this. You didn't ask for it. You just did the inner work. You became the kind of man who stayed true in silence, who stayed honest in solitude. And that quiet commitment to becoming whole created a doorway. And now love is entering through that doorway, pure, honest, and unforced. Not because of how you look or act, but because of how you make others feel. Safe, heard, held. You're not drawing people in with fantasy. You're inviting them with reality. You're not offering a thrill. You're offering truth. And it's not just attractive. It's deeply needed. You're not the man they dreamed of in moments of fantasy. You're the man they didn't believe existed until now. You're not pulling them into you. You're helping them rise into themselves. You're not asking for vulnerability, but your presence makes them want to be vulnerable. Not to get something, but to finally let something go. You are not afraid of their feelings. You don't run from their shame. You don't flinch at their stories. You stay. You listen. You receive. And that receiving is healing. Not because you fix them, but because you never make them feel like they're too much. You've become a man who holds what others hide, and holds it gently, with patience, with care. And that's why they come to you now. That's why they confess. Not because they want to be saved, but because you're the first man who makes them feel like they don't have to be afraid of being seen. You're not the performance. You're not the thrill. You are the peace. You are the safety. You are the resting place. You don't chase love anymore. You don't chase attention. You've stopped trying to earn worth. You've already found it inside yourself. And now, people are recognizing that in you. They feel it. And they're drawn to it. Not because of who you pretend to be, but because of who you truly are. You've become the kind of man others feel safe being real with. The kind they don't want to impress, but open up to. The kind who doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. The kind who doesn't need to take to feel whole. The kind who blesses just by being present. You are no longer the man the world told them to chase. You are the man they didn't know their soul was quietly preparing them to find. And now that they've found you, They're opening their hearts in ways they never have before, because your presence doesn't ask them to give more. It allows them to finally just be, and that changes